to wildfire risk reduction and insurance affordability here in California. I'm Senator Marie Alvarado Gill, representing the 4th Senate District, a rural portion of California, which expands from the Tahoe Basin down the Eastern Sierras into Inyo County and the Central Valley. I welcome you today alongside my Republican colleagues, fire chiefs and firefighters who are on the front lines every single day protecting our communities. As California continues to face escalating wildfire threats, especially in our rural communities and our wildland-urban interface communities, it's critical that we prioritize prevention, resilience, and financial relief for hardworking families and property owners. Today, we'll hear from leaders committed to real solutions that cut through bureaucracy, stabilize insurance markets, and empower Californians to protect their homes and livelihoods. The Wildfire Risk Reduction and Insurance Affordability Package, which includes several targeted bills, is designed to lower risks and ease costs to our consumers. The first bill, Senate Bill 1162, which I authored, directs CAL FIRE to prioritize state-funded vegetation management in high-density, fair plan areas. This will reduce wildfire ignition risks and personal liability exposure for homeowners. It'll help stabilize the insurance premiums by addressing vulnerabilities in high-risk communities. Senate Bill 1084 provides a personal income tax credit for qualified home hardening projects such as fire-resistant roofing and defensible space requirements, which will make homes more resilient to embers and flames, potentially qualifying owners for insurance discounts, offsetting upfront costs to encourage widespread adoption and long-term savings. Senate Bill 1118, which I also authored, offers a capped tax credit for purchasing backup generators or solar battery storage systems, enabling families to maintain essential power during outages for medical needs, food storage, and communications. It will also help to build household resilience without relying solely on strained utility grids. If we are a self-sustainable community in the rural community of California, we will then also be able to allow for first responder services to focus on those who need help most during times of natural disaster. Now, we're going to be hearing from my colleagues about their vital pieces of legislation. But before that, I'd like to invite Minority Leader Senator Brian Jones to say a few words.
Thank you, Senator Alvaro Gil. I want to thank Senator Alvaro Gil for bringing this event together and drawing attention to the work that the Senate Republican caucus continues to do in areas of wildfire prevention and resilience, wildland management, fire insurance reform, and supporting our courageous firefighters and first responders. From measuring the impacts of wildfire smoke to making home hardening a little easier through tax credits for homeowners, our caucus has advanced thoughtful and meaningful legislation that will make a real difference in addressing the ongoing crisis that wildfires represent in today's California. I've known California firefighters personally for many years and worked with them on pay increases, personnel issues, and budget increases since I originally came to the legislature 16 years ago. I've heard from the guys and the ladies on the front line directly, some of whom stand here with us today, that they need more support and they need better policies from Sacramento that help them help California when tragedy strikes unexpectedly. This package of bills represents the input from those frontline responders, and I'm proud of my caucus mates for their efforts on these issues. Fires are fought by firefighters. They are won and lost on the ground, and we must advance policies that support their mission, enable their efforts, and uncomplicate the management of wildlands in our state. And with that, I'm very excited for the presentations that each one of our caucus members will be giving today on their bills, and look forward to moving this package of bills forward in the legislature, and obviously working with our Democrat colleagues to get their support and doing everything we can to fix California. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minority Leader Jones. Next, we have Senator Shannon Grove, who authored Senate Bill 375, which removes regulatory hurdles under CEQA and other acts that accelerate wildfire preparedness projects and enhance emergency responses. Senator Grove.
Thank you, Senator Alvarado Gil, for putting this press conference together and having all of us join you. Good afternoon. As she said, I'm State Senator Shannon Grove, proudly representing the 12th Senate District, which includes the Central Valley and part of the Sierra Nevada. It's also an area that has known heartbreak and loss and devastation and hardship caused by wildfires. We've all seen the devastation from these fires, and not just in my district, but across the entire state. From the massive blazes in the Sierra foothills that have forced families to evacuate their homes, to the mega fires raging in Northern California and beyond. They've scorched our landscapes, destroyed communities, taken lives, and left lasting health impacts on people that we serve. It's not just the flames that we worry about. It's the particulate matter caused by all of these fires. As well, within this thick black smoke, this hazy smoke that's toxic that you breathe every day, as long as this smoke hangs in the air, and even days and weeks go by before it's clearing. It quietly takes a toll on your health, and we don't always see the impacts that the smoke creates in our lives right away. That's why I've introduced SB 899. The bill is pretty simple. It calls for a real, honest look at the wildfire smoke and the particulate matter that it creates, that is it affecting our health, and it will require Wildfire Forest Resilience Task Force to keep track of how many Californians end up in the ER, and is the cost driver of the increase in medical insurance and the cost drivers for our medical insurance and our treatment, and because of the exposure, or sadly, if we lose a life. My bill would also help figure out the true cost of our families and our communities, both physically and financially, from these wildfires, and how we can do better by making our forest healthier and more resilient. By investing in smarter ways to manage our forest and fight these fires, we're not just saving the trees, we're saving lives, easing the burden on our hospitals, and protecting the air that our kids breathe every single day. This bill will help us assess the full impacts so that we can make decisions and policy that puts people first when it comes to wildfire prevention. I'm grateful for the strong support that SB 899 from groups that support this bill are the California Forest Watershed Alliance, the Association of California Water Agencies, the California Farm Bureau, the California Forestry Association, the Nature Conservancy, and the Rural County Representatives of California. They're all standing with us because they know these effects of these wildfires impact all of us. At the end of the day, it's about keeping our families safe and healthy in places that we call home. I urge my colleagues in the legislature to join me in passing SB 899. It's up in Senate Natural Resources tomorrow. We can all work together to get a handle on these wildfires and build stronger, healthier California for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Grove. As you can see, these are real solutions that we are debating right here in Sacramento. Next, Senator Kelly Sayardo, who authored Senate Bill 904, which expedites post-wildfire cleanup, permitting, and rebuilding to get communities back on their feet faster. Senator.
Thank you, Senator. Well, thank you all for being here today. I am Senator Kelly Sayardo. I represent the 32nd Senate District, and that is the large swath of land that goes from pretty much Yorba Linda and Chino Hills all the way down into Julian and then out to the desert of Anza Borrego. I cover 4 different counties, all of them susceptible to wildfires. I also have a little bit of a background in this. I spent 35 years in the fire service. I was a battalion chief when I retired 15 years ago for LA County Fire. And so I also have firsthand experience responding to and being on strike teams going out into the wildfires. And I can tell you, California has a problem. This is the luck of the Irish day. Well, our luck has run out. We need to do something about fire prevention. We need to do something about our response capabilities. And we also need to do something about the recovery. My bill is SB 904, and it focuses a little bit on that recovery part. And it's the first part. So SB 904, which focuses on helping communities rebuild faster after a major wildfire. In 2025, LA wildfires destroyed more than 6,800 homes and structures and damaged nearly 1,000 more. During that response, and right after that response, the state coordinated agencies and worked toward issuing rebuilding permits and trying to get those done in about 30 days once they got to the permitting stage. And this is all to help families get back on their feet. Wildfires that destroy homes should not be opportunities for anybody, but the family needs to be able to rebuild. And so SB 904 makes that kind of coordinated response the standard for everyone statewide moving forward. It will require state agencies to quickly identify permitting rules that could slow rebuilding and recommend ways to streamline the process, to speed that process up. It also ensures state and local governments work together on permitting and that agencies accept electronic submissions so families aren't stuck navigating outdated processes and having to go long distances to put in plans. The goal is simple. Families shouldn't face unnecessary bureaucratic delays just to rebuild their lives. Every wildfire-impacted community deserves the same urgency and the coordination from the state when it comes to recovery. I also have a role on the newly formed Emergency Management Committee, and I am the vice chair of that committee at this time. I'm honored to serve on it, and I hope to help to be able to shape the state's approach to disaster preparedness and recovery. The committee will play an important role in reviewing how California prepares for, responds to, and recovers from major emergencies. Every fire gives us an opportunity to learn. And one of the important roles of this committee is going to be trying to learn from past incidents. And the LA fires last year, there's a lot of lessons to be learned. And I hope that we are able to do a hearing, not just to point out things that went wrong, but point out things that went right as well. And to learn from those fires so that we don't repeat those things and we make the improvements that need to be made so that our constituents, our citizens in California can live safely. And when tragedy does strike, they can get back to their normal lives as soon as humanly possible. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Senator Sayardo. Now, we fully support the men and women who fight fires and help prevent fires throughout California. Some of the most decorated men and women first responders are with us here today. I'd like to invite forward our Tim Cordero from the El Dorado Fire Protection District. He is the chief in the Senate District 4 of El Dorado, and I'd love for you to talk about how this helps you.
Thank you, Senator. Good afternoon, everyone. As the fire chief for El Dorado County Fire Protection District, I'm proud to support the Wildfire Risk Reduction and Affordability Package, particularly the bills that empower residents to protect their homes. Senate Bill 1084 provides a personal income tax credit for home hardening like fire-resistant roofing, ember-resistant vents, and defensible space, making it much more affordable to reduce ignition risk, which are often coupled with insurance discounts. Paired with local rebates and grants, these incentives provide opportunities for homeowners to enhance the resiliency of their homes and property in the event of catastrophic fires. Senate Bill 1118 offers a tax credit for backup generators and solar battery storage, which is vital in our area during public safety power shutoffs to keep our wells, medical devices, and communications running when fires threaten. Communication with our residents is critical during these events. We must cut the red tape that allows for faster rebuilding after fires, streamlining approvals so that survivors can return home after their home has been damaged faster, stronger, and more resilient. Insurance fairness is also key. Reform should expand the fair plan access and reward homes that have been hardened and are compliant to stabilize coverage. For our residents, now is the time to act. Clear your defensible space, harden your homes, add backup power, and watch for our local workshops. These tools make protection achievable. Together, we're building a stronger and more resilient El Dorado County. Thank you.
When crisis strikes, the first people you call are CAL FIRE. CAL FIRE has been an enormous asset to California, and here today we would like to invite the president of CAL FIRE to come forward. We support them. We support them with funding. We support them with retirement benefits and protections, because it's these men and women that answer the call no matter where in California the crisis strikes. Please. Oh, sorry.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Tim Edwards, president of CAL FIRE Local 2881. We represent 11,000 of your state firefighters. We are your California State Fire Department. And the chief laid out all the things behind these bills, but let me bring a little personal to it. As these senators throughout the years have fought for more effective staffing within CAL FIRE, we still are undermanned because we need more preventable spaces between houses and home hardening. That gives us the opportunity to get in and hopefully control the fires and push them around the homes and not burn down. But then we talk about toxic smoke. And toxic smoke is not just trees. These houses have chemicals in them, plastics, paints, and we breathe those in every day. And if you go to the California wall, there are many firefighters on that wall because of cancer. So these senators who have supported us throughout the years in staffing and pushing for more effective staffing are introducing bills that will give us another upper hand to help prevent these major wildfires, help homes from burning, and help smoke from killing our residents in California. So I thank you, and I support all these legislations. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to acknowledge on stage we have representatives from Jackson, Amador County, my hometown. I'm here supporting us today. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Okay. Now, as we've heard, California's wildfire crisis demands bold, practical actions, prioritizing prevention, incentivizing resilience, streamlining recovery, and ensuring that fair insurance access for all and for rural homeowners to mobile communities. The Wildfire Risk Reduction and Insurance Affordability package of bills represents a comprehensive approach to reducing risks and making coverage more affordable without burdensome regulations. Together, we're equipping families and first responders with the tools to help protect our state. I urge my colleagues in the legislature to advance these measures swiftly, and I look forward to working across the aisle and in both houses to bring financial relief to our great state of California. Thank you all for being here. We're going to continue the conversation going with Q&A, but before we do that, I would like to send a message in Spanish for those of you streaming in Spanish. All right, still looking for it. Okay, I think we'll go right to questions. All right, questions. Yes. Yes, well, as you know, the Democrats have been in control for quite some time in both houses. We are overdue in bills that bring solutions. And so this is an opportunity for us to say we're not waiting any longer for our Democrat colleagues to bring forward legislation. After what we saw in the SoCal fires, we are years later without homes being built in Southern California. In our own community in El Dorado County, the Caldor fire took out a whole community of Grizzly Flats. And just recently, this year, 2026, 5 years after the Caldor fire, the first home was built for one of the families that had lost a home. We cannot wait any longer. We have an insurance product in the FAIR Plan that has continued to increase rates to our consumers, and the threatened rate increase right now is 38% by April 1st. We simply cannot wait for our colleagues on the other side of the aisle to bring forward solutions. These are solid, these are tested, these are supported throughout California, and we'd like to work with our Democratic colleagues to condense, combine, but to bring real solutions to Californians. We are hopeful of bipartisan support. I think my colleagues in the other side of the aisle know that we need real solutions, and I'm hopeful and know that this is the year for us to collaborate. I'm very excited about the leadership of new Pro Tem Monique Limon, who has committed to collaborating with Republicans and has brought an opportunity for us to sit at the table and have conversations about real solutions. So yes, I'm very hopeful. So we're the fourth largest economy in the world. We don't have a money problem in California, we have a spending problem. And when we continue to not prioritize fire prevention, fire resilience, restoration of communities, and fully funding the men and women who stand on this stage and who put their lives on the line every day, we are doing a disservice to Californians. So regardless of what is happening with our president and with our governor, it is these men and women that are relying on us in the legislature to make decisions on funding. And that's what I'm going to be urging our colleagues to do, is to put Californians first and to ensure that we're putting the money into prevention and wildfire fighting so that we can have real solutions. But we simply cannot face our brothers and sisters and families down in Southern California, in Altadena and the Palisades, that have lost their homes, and we have no solutions for them to rebuild. I mean, we're past that. So enough of excuses. We need to build, and we need to give people back trust in their local governments. Right. Well, we've seen the governor fully fund priorities outside of wildfire funding. We've seen billions of dollars go to high-speed rail and other projects that are not priorities, and it's not putting money back into the pockets of families that are struggling right now. The affordability crisis is real, and we have people that have lost their homes through wildfires and natural disasters. We need to address that. We have an urgency here right now. And again, regardless of the FEMA funding at the federal level, we can't say we're the fourth largest economy in the world and not take care of our own residents. Yes.
All the way down to 7 Creek, when it comes to things like this,
Well, this is a real fear, because those of us who are born and raised in California and want to live our last days in California, we've done the work to live here. And the rural communities, we're seeing our forests that have not been taken care of for years. Again, this is something that we know. The native Californians understood that taking care of our forests required intentional work. But the reality is right now that most of us are on the California Fair Plan and have seen our insurance premiums skyrocket. And it's simply unaffordable to be able to live in the rural communities. But yet we require people to be in the rural communities so that our recreational economy is healthy, and our local businesses, and it is the ag center. I mean, we are the headwaters, we have the timber industry there, so we have to make sure that the workforce is local. Yeah. Well, Grizzly Flats was not eligible for federal funding, and the state did not respond to one of our local advocates, one of the local supervisors, who requested over and over again. We had almost 80 families, over 80 families lose their home. We lost the school, the post office, the church. I toured Grizzly Flats and saw the water systems being held together with duct tape. Now again, if we are the fourth largest economy in the world, we should not have duct tape holding up vital water systems for our residents. I mean, we simply have failed year after year in wildfire recovery and resilience. So this bill package is focusing on solutions that we know that work, and 2026 needs to be the year that families can see relief. Affordability in California is the #1 issue, and we have thousands of families that have lost their home and have been pushed out of their communities because they can't rebuild.
So California produces California-compliant oil. It's the cleanest fuel in the entire world. To say that our oil companies are responsible for climate issues is completely inaccurate. That's evidenced by the bill that was passed last cycle when it honored the Kern County EIR supplemental circulated EIR that mitigates with 88 mitigation measures any carbon exposure that allows us to drill a well that is net carbon increase. So to say that the oil companies are responsible, but not even address the fact that we're importing oil from across the world in Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Ecuador, everywhere, and we bring those bunker fuel ships over here with 126 million metric tons of carbon emission exposed over a fragile ecosystem. We extend our supply chains where we find ourselves in a situation now where we can't even get fuel or oil delivered to us, and we import almost 70% of the fuel that we could produce here for Californians by Californians, where we and our Democrat colleagues control the process. It's completely ridiculous that my colleague from San Francisco would blame any oil industry or oil producer in the state of California for negative impacts on the climate. He should be looking at these producers that produce outside of our state in Ecuador, Saudi Arabia, and other places. We don't use open air flaming. We have, like I said, California compliant oil with 88 mitigation measures to make it net carbon increase. And there's no accountability for foreign operators to have those bunker fuel ships bring us the oil that we use every single day, 1.8 million barrels a day Californians still use. And they just submit a letter to CARB that says, hey, we burned so many emissions, and it's completely accepted with no accountability whatsoever. So it's a completely inaccurate statement from my colleague from San Francisco to make that claim.
Take one more question if you have it, and then we'll wrap up. Excellent. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for everybody for staying within the 30 minutes limits as well. I want to thank everybody who joined us today and my colleagues. Thank you for believing in resilience here in California and for continuing to support the men and women